Your story begins not with the crash of swords, but with the cry of a newborn cutting through the smoke-filled air of a longhouse. You are born into the world of the Norse in the late 9th century. The world outside your timber and turf home is one of unforgiving beauty, towering mountains that bleed into gray, icy seas and forests so deep they whisper with old gods. This is not a world of comfort. The air you first breathe is thick with the smell of burning peat, damp wool, and the press of many bodies, family, kinsmen, and livestock, all sharing this single, long room as the winter winds howl outside. There are no windows, only a hole in the thatched roof to let the smoke escape, and the dim light will be a constant companion to your days. You are a Karl, born of free farmers. This is your station. You are not a Jarl, one of the wealthy chieftains, whose halls ring with boasts and the clatter of silver. Nor are you a thrall, a slave with no rights, whose life is spent in grueling labor for a meager bed in the stalls with the animals. You are in the vast, hard-working middle of your life, defined not by glory, but by the turning of the seasons and the toil of your hands. Your father is a farmer, a blacksmith, a boat builder. He is whatever the season demands. Your mother, her hands stained with dye and rough from grinding grain, holds the keys to the household. She runs the farm when the men are away. She weaves the cloth that keeps you warm, and she knows the secrets of which herbs can soothe a fever and which can ease the pain of a difficult birth. And she knows the secrets of which herbs can soothe a fever and which can ease the pain of a difficult birth. It is a life of labor, but it is also a life of profound uncertainty. Famine is a constant threat, capable of turning a prosperous farm into a house of ghosts. Disease, for which there are few true cures beyond folk remedies, can sweep through a village, and a simple infection from a wound could mean a slow, painful death. And beyond your farmstead, the world is governed by a code of honor, where a perceived slight can lead to a blood feud, settled at the local assembly, the thing, or with the cold finality of a duel. This is the womb of your circumstance. You have been granted life, but survival is a prize you must win each and every day. Childhood is a short and perilous season. You are one of many children born to your parents, but not all will see adulthood. Nearly a third of those born alongside you will be taken by illness or accident before they reach their 20th year. There is no school. Your education is the world itself. As a boy, you learn the heft of an axe, not for battle, but for splitting firewood. You learn the rhythms of the farm, the back-breaking work of plowing the rocky soil with a wooden ard, a simple plow that often breaks and must be replaced. You learn to sow the barley and oats that will become your family's bread and ale. Your days are long, rising before the sun to tend to the animals, the cattle, sheep, and goats that are your family's true wealth. The work is relentless and follows the sun across the sky. Your diet is hearty but monotonous. Stews of root vegetables and whatever meat is available, dark rye bread that wears down your teeth with grit from the grinding stone, and skyr, a thick, sour cheese. It is a diet born of necessity, designed to fuel a life of hard physical labor. Hygiene is a practical matter. Despite the grim surroundings, your people value cleanliness. You bathe weekly, a stark contrast to many other cultures of the age, and use combs carved from bone to keep your hair. But this does little to ward off the invisible threats. Internal parasites from contaminated food and water are a common affliction, weakening the body from within. The constant smoke in the longhouse irritates your lungs, and the damp cold seeps into your bones, promising the ache of arthritis in your later years. As you approach manhood, the pull of the sea becomes undeniable. The farmland is limited, and as a younger son, your inheritance will be small. To build a life, to earn a name, and the silver needed to buy your own farm, you must go a-viking. It is not a title, but an occupation, a season of your life dedicated to raiding and trading. The journey is grueling. You are packed shoulder to shoulder on an open boat, exposed to the brutal weather of the North Atlantic. The cold is a relentless enemy, soaking you to the bone. The sea is a constant, churning dread. Storms can appear from nowhere, promising a cold, anonymous death in the waves. For weeks, your world is the creak of timber, the snap of the sail, and the taste of salt spray. The raid itself is nothing like the sagas. It is a desperate, violent scramble for portable wealth. You are a farmer with an axe, facing other farmers with pitchforks, The clash is clumsy, terrifying, and brief. The goal is not conquest, but plunder, silver, weapons, and thralls to be sold in the markets. Every moment carries the risk of a mortal wound. An axe blow, a spear thrust, even a small cut, if it becomes infected, can mean the end of your story. You witness horrors that will live behind your eyes for the rest of your days. You survive your first season, and then a second. You return with a small share of silver, enough to add to the family's wealth, but not yet enough to strike out on your own. You see friends who do not return, their fates unknown, their stories ending on a foreign shore. The stress and trauma of this life settle deep within you. With your earnings, you are able to secure a marriage. You are wed to a woman from a neighboring farm, a union arranged to strengthen kinship ties. She is perhaps 15, old enough to run a household and bear children. Her life, too, is one of immense labor spinning wool, weaving cloth, preparing food, and raising the next generation. Childbirth is her battlefield, a dangerous duty that claims the lives of many women. Together, you live within the crowded, noisy confines of your family's longhouse. There is no privacy. Every joy, every argument, every sickness is a public affair. You work the land, you pay your dues to the local chieftain, and you hope for a good harvest. You live under a legal system where honor is paramount, and justice is often a matter of paying the right price, the wergild, to the family of someone you have wronged. A serious crime could see you declared an outlaw, a fate worse than death, cast out from society to be hunted by any who find you. This becomes your life, a repeating cycle of planting and harvesting, of brief summers and long, dark winters. The dream of glory fades, replaced by the more urgent need to feed your children and keep the fire burning. The years wear on you. You have lived to see your own children grow, a blessing not granted to many. By the standards of your time, you are approaching old age. Most men do not live past 40. The ceaseless labor has taken its toll. Your joints ache with arthritis, a legacy of cold fields and damp winters. Your teeth are worn down, and the pain from them is a constant, nagging presence. You have not become a great warrior. Your name will not be sung in the halls of chieftains. Your great adventure was a few brutal seasons on the sea, a gamble that won you just enough to live the life you were always meant to that of a farmer. You have fought not against armies, but against the land, the weather, and the ever-present threat of starvation. Your end comes not from an axe, but from a cough that settles deep in your chest. A respiratory illness, common in the smoky, crowded longhouses, takes hold and does not let go. There is nothing to be done. Your wife sits by you, her face a mask of weary grief, holding a cup of herbal tea to your lips. It does little. You die quietly as the embers of the central fire burn low. You are perhaps 38 years old. You are buried with the simple tools of your trade, a knife, a whetstone. There is no great treasure to mark your passing. Your legacy is not in silver or in stories of valor. It is in the children who will continue to work this same patch of land. It is in the fence you repaired, the field you cleared, the small contributions to a life of collective survival. Your life was not an epic saga. It was a brief, difficult, and often painful existence, one of millions lived and forgotten. To be a Viking was not always to be a conqueror. For most, it was to be a farmer, a fisherman, a laborer, locked in a constant struggle against a harsh and unforgiving world. It was to live a life where death was a constant neighbor, and where the greatest victory was simply to see another sunrise. Your story, like so many others, is not written in the annals of kings, but is absorbed back into the silent, patient earth. The stories of these lives are often lost to time. What aspect of this journey resonated with you the most? Share your reflections in the comments below. Thank you for bearing witness.